is by far millions of times better off than a good non-devotee citizen of the world. This is what it is. 17. People will pull their hair. People will finger point at you. You have to be able to defend this clause. What can you say? This is the verdict of Narad. Prabhupada gave thousands of classes on 51517. Heavy verse. People will disagree. They will prosecute you. They will sue you. You tell them a fallen devotee is better off than a paka materialist. How can you rationalize? Because we know from Gita, they had 240, they had become Nasatusti, Pratiri, and Avidati. Even the little step on this path can protect you from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear?
Death.
Yeah, even worse. Going back down, you become an animal, you become a snail on the lettuce leaf. Devotee means even a fallen devotee cannot go back down. This is the point. It's beyond mundane logic. And 17 is heavy. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, doesn't gain anything. That's a heavy point. Very heavy point. It's totally opposite to mainstream religion today. One time I was invited to a symposium. The topic was, is love of the nation part of love of God? I was there. There was Muslim, Christian, Jews. And I don't know what happened. I was the first one to speak. And I gave a talk, quoting left, right, and corner. And I guess, no way, it's not connected at all. And I finished my talk. Any questions? People were not happy. And then all the other talks, Christian, Jew, yes, of course, it is part of love of God. They get mixed up. Manava Seva and Madha Seva. This is the point of Shri Show, number 7, I believe. What is the difference between Manav Seva and Madhav Seva? Manav means man, humanity. Gandhi was into that mood. If I serve the Harijan and the untouchables, this is Krishna consciousness. No, non, we cannot mix. En français, on dit on ne peut pas mélanger les torchons et les serviettes. You cannot mix the two. On the contrary, you want to help mankind, you preach Madhav consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Then you serve. Then okay. Then you benefit the people. Otherwise, you don't benefit the people. Even Prabhupada used to say, if you do food distribution without Harinam, it's Maya. Can you imagine? How high is the bar? I remember Bhakti Jaita Maharaj, he gave a seminar long back. He didn't call it food for life, he called it food for death. And he used to criticize heavily. He said, you guys are just doing food for life. You get funded by the government. People don't even know it's Hare Krishna. So on one side you feed the needy, okay, you offer to Krishna, it's prashad, but they cannot even relate this Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada used to say it has to be combined together. Harinam, food and books. That's powerful. And if you sell books in the Harinam, it's maha powerful. Very easy. So this is the point. Narad is a heavy guru. And then 18, it's Tasyeva Heto Prayatita Kovido. Kovido means the learned. What do? They focus on Charanambuj Hare 17. They don't they don't splay themselves everywhere. They focus on the lotus feet of Hari. And that is not available. Abrahma Bhuvana Luka Pununavara. You cannot find it. Tatraloriam Apimoliam Ekalam. You cannot find it. It is only lying in the heart of a pure devotee. What is it? Dharma, you know. Guhayam, Dharma Guhayam, Nihitam Guhayam. It's hidden in the heart of Mahabhagavan Vaishnava. That's the only way. And then he goes, no need to go after sense enjoyment. It's going to come on its own. You don't search for distress, it's coming. In the same way, your sense gratification will come on its own. And then it's pushing that point. And 19 is pushing the same point. A devotee, a fallen devotee cannot be put in the same category. Never. Because he has tasted the Krishna's lotus feet. He has been a pure devotee. We have been all pure devotees. We have been. The problem we don't remain pure devotees, but we have been pure devotees. Because we are under the moon.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Ma'am. Prabhu, if we have been pure devotee, so even and if we fell from there, so do we understand that even at some point we develop purity, we can get contaminated again?
Yes, this is the problem. If you stick to that verse, that's the definition of pure bhakti. We have been at times under the definition. We are not after Jnana Karma, etc., Yoga, Navita, etc. It's not covered. We have been Krishna Anu Shiranam. We have been cultivating favorably Krishna consciousness to please Him. We cannot say we have never been in that mentality. But because we are under the modes, we tend to be covered over again. That's called Mishra Bhakti. So, but in other words, I have to give a seminar on this thing because I remember Bhagavat, what's his name? He gave a beautiful seminar. Balaram Shakti. It's really up there. It's on the level of Krishna. He gave a beautiful seminar, Balaram Shakti. He explained something beautiful. It doesn't mean because you are a neophyte devotee that you cannot do pure devotional service. That's the whole purpose of his seminar. Beautiful seminar. And I remember, and he's quoting left, right, and corner. He knows the whole guitar by heart and so many books. So his point was, you can be a pure devotee on the level of Prem Bhakti, on the level of Bhav Bhakti, on the level of Vedi Bhakti. That's it. What is the criteria? Is Anyabilashita Shunyam. Do you stick to that verse? So in other words, it doesn't mean because you are a neophyte that you cannot be a pure devotee. This is the point. What is the criteria? Anyabilashita Shunyam. When you go to you may have anarthas, but when you go and see Krishna, do you ask, my dear Krishna, please fulfill my anartha? No. Your prayer is pure devotion. Please, my dear Krishna, help me, Lord Balaram, even better, Lord Balaram. Please help me to remove my... So that's pure devotional service. That's pure devotional. You are taking shelter as a pure devotee. Your action is pure devotional service. You may be contaminated, you may be struggling, anartha-nivritti, but your intent is pure. You are practicing pure devotional service. provided you follow the 4 eggs and chant 16 rounds. That's pure devotion. It doesn't mean you're not struggling. But when how do you say in English? When the push comes to shove, so they say like that. When the push comes to shove, you take shelter. That's a reaction of pure devotional service. You take shelter. So that's the point of this Prabhu, Balaram Shakti, a beautiful seminar. I can give that seminar actually, because it's often misunderstood by devotees. Oh, I'm a neophyte, hence I cannot make it, I'm very low. You can be a pure devotee as a neophyte, as a Kanishka Adhikari, as a Madhyam, The problem is we don't stay. Follow? This is the problem. We may be a pure devotee, and 2 days later we are in Maya. Because we misuse our free will. If you don't misuse your free will, never, then you remain a pure devotee all the time. Why do you see big gurus? I don't want to mention names. Much bigger than you and me. Much bigger. They have done so much. And 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the line, they're gone. Because at one point, they misuse the free will. It doesn't mean they were not pure devotees. Papa used to say to Bhagwan, how can I refuse to him his Bhagwan? Can you imagine? It was extremely well situated. It didn't mean, that doesn't mean it didn't fall down. He fell down. But again, he's better off than Bill Gates. Much more than Bill Gates. Because he has served Prabhupada. He has built up ISKCON as to Western Europe that goes eternally to his credit. He has done thousands. He has helped to make thousands of devotees to Trump. So it's millions of times more better than Trump or Bill Gates all this time. Millions. So this is the point. Okay, and then let's catch up with what we're going to resume. 20, Idam Hivishram Bhagavan Nivetaro. This is very important. Krishna is non-different from the cosmos in the form of Brahman. But he's also different. Ivetaro, what's the meaning of Ivetaro? Itara means different. So again, Achintya Bed, it's different and non-different. Is equal to cosmos in terms of Brahman. What is the verse in the Bhagavad Gita? 9.4. Majatatamidam savam jagadavektamurtina mastani savabhutani nachaham tejavashtika. By me, in my avyaktamurtina. What is avyaktamurti?
Unmanifested.
Exactly. Avyaktamurti. You know that term, murti. In my unmanifested murti, I pervade and support this entire universe. Not only universe, creation. Everyone is in me, but I'm not in me. So Krishna is within and also outside. Because in terms of Bhagwan, Goloka Nivasati Akilatma Bhut is in Golok. But he's in his all-pervading feature is to the Brahman. 20. Idam Nivishvam Bhagavan Nivetaro. I'm non-different, yes, in the form of Brahman, but I'm also, Krishna says 14:27, Brahmano hi Pratishta. I'm the source of Brahman. I'm Param. So this is the philosophy. And Narad is expert in philosophy. Expert. He has understood all the intricacies of this philosophy. It's a very important chapter. Extremely important chapter. So then 21 is glorifying again your perfect goodness, Amogadrik. Please, you are a plenary portion of the Lord. I mean, come on. You are birthless. Please describe Krishna Katha more vividly. See, is again praising. Okay, So let's move on. Idam hi pumsab tapasa shrutasya va shvitasya shuktasya cha buddhitatayo adichyuto ta kavibe nirupito yat utamashlo gunanuvarnanam.
Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of the hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental description of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry.
Yes.
So, in this verse and the purport, we see how Narad Muni explains that all human endeavors, you see, no matter how lofty or cultured it is, whether whatever they're doing, even they're performing austerities, Vedic study, sacrifice, intellectual cultivation, or even fine arts, that will reach their infallible purpose only when they culminate in the Uttama Sloka Gunanu Varnanam. That is the glorification of Krishna's transcendental qualities. So here we see Narad Muni is not condemning anything. However, he is telling only if everything is dovetailed in Krishna's service.
Yes.
And also, misuse of knowledge is when we disconnect everything from Krishna.
Yeah.
And yeah.
This is good. So this is, by the way, issue 12, if I'm not mistaken. Remember we discussed, I don't know if I did issue with you. Issue is a very important book. Now perhaps it's not, it's perhaps 10. Iti shushrum dhiranam. Yes, this is the verse. Anya devahu vidyaya, nyadahu avidyaya, iti shushrum dhiranam. You have to hear from a deer, devotee. Dhira means sober, dhinastadvishashakshire. So there is a division between avidya and vidya. So people have to be told this is not rocket science. You are expert in art. You engage your art in Krishna consciousness. You are expert in philosophy. You engage your philosophy. You are expert in maths. Remember, this Prabhu, he left the world. This Prabhu he had a PhD in, I remember practically when he used to preach, he used to start crying. This is such an amazing character, this devotee. His name was, he died in his swimming pool, I remember. He used to work for BI. He had a PhD in statistics, mathematics statistics. Extremely brilliant. And he can speak to a 5-year-old boy also. And he was a master in science, PhD in mathematics, PhD in statistics, and Krishna conscious. So he has understood. Look at Sripad Maharaj, PhD in quantum mechanics. He became a devotee. Tamal Krishna Maharaj explained he's the one who spoke the most to Prabhupada on the planet in terms of time training. And no one has spoken more to Srila Prabhupada in this time than him. No.
Prabhu,
Yes.
And there was one point where Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, being a pure devotee of the Lord, at the end he wanted to go to university again. So there was different views of devotees. Devotees were not approving, some were approving. What you have to say for that?
You have to know the backstory, Prabhu.
Mm-hmm.
In '94, I was there in Mayapur. Of course, it's a known fact, but you don't know. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj is such a powerful personality, and he was quite an adept follower of Narayan Maharaj. So he convinced the whole GBC body. He said we have to hand over ISKCON to Narayan Maharaj. Two devotees put their foot down, and practically everyone was convinced. Everyone, you name it. I don't want to mention names. Everyone was convinced, except two: Trivikram Maharaj and Bhakti Chowdhury.
Bhakti Swami.
So what happened in '94? It was a major outburst in Mayapur. My Guru Maharaj decided he had a dream. Actually, no, first he went on a fast. He started fasting for 3-4 days, nirja, non-stop. Then he had a dream. Prabhupada told him, you stop this nonsense. Then he told GBC chairman, you please reconvene the meeting. I've got something to say. And Trivikram Maharaj also put his foot down. So then, Bhakti Chowdhury Maharaj, he had them reconvene the meeting. Very powerful. And then he told them, this is what happened, I had a dream, you guys forget about this nonsense. And to facilitate Tamal Krishna Maharaj, so he can come out in a glorious way, he decided himself, he's not a fool, he understood that my time is over for the time being. Let me study, let me go back to Oxford and go for my PhD. And everyone acclaimed, yes, but Maharaj, very good. So he had a glorious exit. And unfortunately, as you know, he left the world in 2002, shortly after. I would say 8 years after. So this is why he was encouraged. Even Garud Prabhu and all these learned scholars in Islam told him, Maharaj, why don't you take a break and you just concentrate on use your scholarship to go for a PhD. And he loved the idea. Maharaj was quite adept at studying deeply, and he was quite good at scholarship. So he went for that avenue, and of course he left. That's the backstory for him. So, yes, it's a very important verse 22. Anashaktasya vishayan yataha upayum yataha nirbandha Krishna Samadhi Yukta Vairagya Mochate. This is Bhakti Sindhu. Anashaktasya, if you are not attached to material sense object, but you understand that according to suitability, I'm going Nirmada Krishna Sambandhe, I'm going to engage everything in the service of the Lord. That's called Yukta Vairagya. That's perfect. That's called dovetailing. But the other shlok is the downside. Prapanchikatiya Buddhya Hari Sambandhi Vastinaha Mumukshu Bhi Parityago Veragyam Falgu Falgu Veragya Ketate. That's Falgu Veragya. What is the meaning of Falgu Veragya in opposition to Yukta Veragya? Falgu.
Falgu, immature.
Yeah, hollow. Hello. Sadharudas Maharaj gives a beautiful example. He said, in India, you see big rivers going dry because of the hot season, big rivers. It doesn't mean the water is gone entirely. If you dig under the soil, you still find water running underground. So he says, in the same way, a Mayavad may boast himself to be totally renounced, a Tyagi, a Veragi, but inside the heart, the desires are still running. But he cannot address them because, unfortunately for him, he's treading on the path of false renunciation. is not supposed to use his senses in the service of the Lord because he doesn't accept the Lord. So he's stuck in the mud. He has material desires. He cannot express them. He cannot engage them. And on top of that, he cannot indulge into sense gratification. He's a sannyasi. Anyone is watching. He's stuck in the mud. That is why Prabhupada used to say, in secrecy, they worship Radha and Krishna. They won't tell you, but in secrecy, in the privacy of their room, they worship Radha and Krishna. Even though they preach Mayavadism sometimes. So that's the only way to 424. Gita 424. Brahmapanam Brahmagniya. You engage everything. Everything pertains to Krishna's energy. So you have seen when you take initiation or get married, whatever, everything is Brahman. The priest, the bananas, the fire, you are Brahman. Your wife is Brahman. Your guru is Brahman. The candidates are Brahman. Your car, you transport Krishna, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, your car is Brahman. As soon as you remove the iron rod from the fire, it becomes iron again. Your car is Maya now. You're going to disco with the car. But when the car is engaged in Krishna, the car is Brahman. Your body is Brahman. As soon again you turn away, but Krishna Bahimurgateva, you turn your face away, again Maya, Vishnu Maya. It's very simple philosophy. Everything is Brahman. Savam Kavinam Brahman. Everything rests on Brahman. So here, did you notice in 22, what is saying? Let me find it for you. I picked up the sentence, very powerful sentence. The paraphernalia, no, even before, all paraphernalia of the cosmic universe are but emanations from the Lord. It's called Tadiya. Tadiya Samarachanam. Tadartiya, 723. What is Tadiya?
Paraphernalia.
Exactly. I remember, my consciousness when I used to collect for the Mayapur, my consciousness was, I was thinking to myself, I'm going to do shopping for Krishna in the material creation. When you go to a big supermarket, you're doing shopping, right? I got my list, I got my carrots, bread, milk, whatever. So you're shopping. And here, my store was the material creation. What do we need? We need money. So I was thinking like this, I'm going to do some shopping for Krishna. What is the store called? The material creation. I'm going to reclaim the money that belongs to Krishna. Give it to Lakshmi. Lakshmi belongs to Nara. That was my meditation. And we did well. Not only me. We had two parties. So everything is emanations of Krishna. The material energy, they have beautiful factories, beautiful arrangements for perfection of life. You use that, just like the python, the snake will come eat the mouse and settle in the hole. This is the devotee. He doesn't have to work hard. He uses the material energy for the sake of Krishna. This is 424. Because this paraphernalia, what is it? It's transformation of his energy. So, and Shakti Matayo Abedan, energies are not different from Shaktiman. So what you do, you give back to Caesar whatever belongs to Caesar. Very simple philosophy. You give back to Krishna the paraphernalia, it belongs to anyone. See, Narad is expert in philosophy. This is Yukta Vedanta. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is avidya. Finish. Such a simple philosophy. It's just like you have a crown made of gold. It's very heavy on your head. So either that crown will bring you to Narak, because you consider this is my possession, or you pay dandavat with that golden crown on your head to Krishna. Then you're making good use of the crown, good use of your ears, good use of your nose. It's a very simple philosophy. As soon as you separate, it will binadrik in Sanskrit. That, what is the word? Binadrik. Binadrik means separatist. A separatist. As soon as you separate, this is the beginning of the end. As long as you don't separate, you're okay. So here, 22, Vishwanath explained, we discussed, Narad explained everything can be successful by bhakti. After giving up all dharmas, with Savadhamam Parityajam Mamikam Sharanam, we know we should give up all dharma. So this verse is for those who cannot fully give up all dharma. You follow? Let's say you have some desire for certain dharma. Those dharma will be produced by bhakti. This is the core of this verse. Avichyuta artha. That's the unfailing cause. Avichyuta artha. It says in 22. That's the cause of all of austerity. If you do austerity not for Krishna, then like Hiranyakashipu, who can beat Hiranyakashipu in austerity? And at the same time, what is the use to performing so many austerities if you perform bhakti? Because bhakti in one stroke, there's a verse. Krishna Bhav. Everything can be achieved by karma. Penance, gyan, vairagya, mystic yoga, charity, dharma, all auspicious means of perfecting life. But all this can be achieved in one stroke by bhakti. And on top of that, Krishna tells you that if ever, for the sake of argument, you want to go to Swarga as a devotee, or you want to be liberated, Krishna will give you that because you're a devotee. You follow? It may be a detour, but because you're a devotee, he will give you. Just like Dhruv, remember? Dhruv wanted a kingdom bigger than his great-grandfather, and he felt ashamed when he saw Prishnigab. Prishnigaba said, yes, okay, I'll give you. You will get I'll be there, and I'm going to create a planet for you, Dhruv Lok, Shvetagate. I'll be there as your gatekeeper. Dhruv was ashamed, so much ashamed. He said, shame on me. It didn't mean that Krishna didn't fulfill his desire. He told him, you're gonna rule 36,000 years. And then you go back to this Shetadik Lok, which is the Vaikuntha Lok in Haridam, in Devidam. So Krishna is like that. Bhakti can fulfill all of the desires. Okay, I think we got it right. 23. This is the Kevala Bhakti verse. Huh? We're entering one of the last section of the chapter. Now Narad is going to tell his life story. Aham puratita bhave bhavam mune dasyastu kasyasyam vedavadinam nirupito balaka eva yoginam shushrushane pravishi nirvivikshatam.
O Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maid servant engaged in the service of Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service.
Yes, Prabhu.
So here,
go ahead.
Narad Muni is relating his interaction with the Bhakti Vedantis who came we stayed at his place during the rainy monsoon season, and he had a great opportunity to serve them and also have the association and get their mercy by honoring their remnants.
Exactly. And it's
Can I
mentioned.
add some?
Yes, go ahead, Rishna.
Yeah, what what we notice is that in 2022, he gave all the principles like austerity, learning, and efforts will reach perfection when used in glorifying the Lord. Now in 23, Narad is showing that even someone in the lowest social position without proper education or status can still become spiritually perfected if they simply serve the devotees of the Lord. And we see how he followed the footstep of his mother, and he assisted her by serving the the brahmanas. And we understand her mother was just a maid servant. So here we also, what we learn is that we should always seek service to the devotees, even menial service, and we should never underestimate a humble beginning of any jiva. And spiritual elevation depends on how sincere someone is in his relationship, in his devotional service to Krishna, not any privilege from birth or social standing, and also the value of association. Just living, associating with pure devotees, one can be transformed from nothing to the most perfected being.
What is the verse? Beautiful verse. What you just said is it's a verse of Sutta Goswami, 1 to 16. Shu 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 Shashadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahai. What is it? Syan Mahat Seva Vipra Punya Tirtha Niveshana. So,
Mahat Seva.
yes. Shu 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 Shashadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. By serving the Mahat, those who have no vices, you will gain an affinity, Vasudeva Kata Ruchi. You will get a Ruchi for Krishna. So it's a very scientific process. Someone has no taste for Krishna Gata means he's not serving. Very simple. Very simple philosophy. If he loves to hear, means he has been serving devotees. You cannot get one without the other. You don't get the first one, you don't get the second one. You get the first one, you get the second. It goes like this. 1 to 16. Mad Bhakta Puja Vyadika. Krishna tells you that my worship, the worship of my devotee, is more important than my worship. More important. Just like Tadiya. Tadiya Samarjana. Tadiya is higher than Krishna.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Prabhu, but my experience in ISKCON for 2 decades is I see mostly devotees tend to use devotees in the service of Krishna, and they don't have the proper attitude of respect and service towards devotees.
Yes.
Most of the time, when devotees are in difficulty, you see non-devotee or even those beginning, they are so helpful and caring. However, I've seen the people who become devotee for years and years, they're becoming hard-hearted.
Yeah. I remember someone asked this question to my guru one time. And my guru replied in such a way, he said, there is two possibilities. If you are extremely advanced, which is not easy, if you are extremely advanced, you know you are being exploited to some extent, like you say, and you tolerate and you serve because you know that I'm not at fault here. I can see they're a bit biased in their approach to me. I can feel there is some. I'll give you an example. When I joined ISKCON in '85, in those days you joined. There was no system of Friends of Krishna. You live outside. No, doesn't exist. You join. You give all your money or everything. So I joined. I had 11,000 francs in '85. I mean, it's 40 years ago. It would be easily 11,000 euros, if not more. So I was serving. I was appointed to in the service of Bhagavat Priya. He had a company. He was making health food bar in France, and he was a nice guy. And I served him and his wife, and I was selling the bars with my car around Paris, going to you know the retail store, health food store, and try to market those bars to those retailers. And I gave 11 grand. And a few days later, I can see he has another car. So did he cheat me? Did he not cheat me? I don't know. But then I was always thinking, I'm giving it to Krishna through him. So Krishna accepted. If he has cheated me, that is his problem. And now he's no more devotee, my dear. I'm not saying he left because of me, but so that's the first possibility. If you're very advanced, I was not very advanced, and I'm still not very advanced, but if you are very advanced, you can see that my authority is a bit biased here. I can feel it, but let me carry on submissively. That's very hard. Number two, my guru says that. Number two, if you're not able, then you have to address the issue with an authority, a different authority, someone even higher than your authority. But it seems to me that you know my superior seems to me there is some biasness on his part, and we can give some example, and even others feel the same. Both ways are bona fide, depending on your level. This is how my guru replied in those days. So it's a fact that there is no cause for pure bhakti other than the fortunate mercy of the devotees. We cannot say it's coming from austerity. No. So Atita Bhave now is going to tell us his story from a previous kalpa, going way back. Nirupita, he was engaged, and Nirvimikshita, it was Chateau Mas, they stay in one place. And you can see the boy Dasiputra in 4 months he became a pure devotee. In 4 months. And his mother didn't even know who is the father. So just imagine where he started. So remember, we have to be careful here. Sometimes devotees get misled. Oh, this is the unborn beginning of Narada. No. If you study Ace Canto, you will see it's mentioned in other Puranas also that at one point Narada wanted to see the material world face to face, first hand. So Krishna